Hello, I hope you're having a lovely day today. I am so grateful to be able to hang our sheets on the line. It has been raining nearly every day for the last 3 weeks, and the days that it hasn't rained, we haven't been home. So I am taking advantage of a fully sunny day to wash our sheets and hang them out in the sun because there's nothing better than falling asleep with sheets that are freshly clean and smelling amazing. I have missed my morning routines of getting sunshine in the morning in my eyes, walking the garden, making my sun tea. All of my favorite things to do I haven't really been able to do for the past 3 weeks. I am taking you along with some of my home economy things that I've been doing, which a lot of it has to do with the garden. I've shared our garden in many other videos, but this has been our best growing season yet. It's always worth it to invest in compost to get your garden going if you don't have enough of your own to get it going. Our garden last year versus this year is night and day difference. Our tomato vines are 9 feet tall, the indeterminate ones, and this is how they looked a week ago. And then we had a massive storm come through, and the wind was wild. The rain was so heavy that I couldn't even see the trees on our land that was across the street from our house. It just blew everything flat, and all I could do was look out the window and see it happening in front of me. Our electric was out for hours, trees were down everywhere all over our street, but I have been saying all garden season, every time I talk about our garden, I say I am holding it with open hands. I'm grateful for everything while we have it, but I know that I'm not in control. That's why I have a sign on our fence that says, "A place of awe, humility, and delight," because you can't control what happens in the garden. It is truly a place that humbles you because each year it could be something totally different. And this year, besides the worms and the voles, things were still going pretty good. Our tomato plants were just huge, and that probably contributed to these falling over because the weight of the tomatoes made these poles already kind of saggy, but the wind really, it blew huge trees over. You can see the conduit pipes that were on the right side of the garden. That tree barrier really helped with a wind break, but the center of the garden, those pipes just couldn't stay up. And even besides them all falling over, because it's been raining so much and we haven't been getting much sun, the plants haven't been able to dry out, so they've been staying wet and getting that leaf disease. Even when the poles were down, I was still harvesting because I didn't want any raccoons to come and take my red tomatoes while they were on the ground. Hopefully, no raccoons ravaged this area overnight. The calm after the storm. So my mom got me this herb book for my birthday, and in it talked about usnea, which a lot of you guys had told me about. In that book, it said the best time to collect usnea is after a storm when all the branches fall and you can find it on the branches. And I had just read that, and then we had this storm come through. So that was the first thing I wanted to do before we even worked in the garden. Scott was collecting sticks all over the yard, and I wanted to collect usnea so I can make a tincture with it, which I will show you in a future video. And it's also really cool because you guys had told me that usnea is a sign of good air quality because it can only grow in areas where there is good air quality. And I hope I'm pronouncing it right. That is at least how it looks. It's usnea. And there's all types of benefits to it, and I'm excited to make a tincture with it. We're going to work to put up our tomato poles, but first, time to make breakfast. Our chickens are laying eggs, which is so exciting. She laid an egg. No, 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 no. Okay. I'm gonna get it out. It's okay. I'm gonna get it out. Oh, look at that. You did it. Well done. Our first egg. I love how small and cute they are. So fun, and I've been saving all of the eggshells and just drying them out in the oven after I wash them, because I will then crush them up so that way the chickens can eat them for calcium. This is our 4th year doing conduit pipes. But last year our tomatoes did so bad that they probably didn't even need the conduit pipes because they just didn't grow that much. And the 2 years, you can see, we had a lot of problems. The tomato vines were so heavy, and it's quite unfortunate because the initial stability of the pipes just is gone now that they have fallen. So there's a lot of things that we've learned from this garden season that we will now do differently next year. The conduit pipes work. We just cannot have so many tomatoes across one pipe at the top because it just gets too heavy and it sags down in the middle. We've never had this big of tomatoes, so we've never had a problem with the conduit poles not being able to hold the tomatoes. The nasturtiums are pretty crushed.
They'll bounce back, I presume.
We just need a sunny day. So this is up, and this is what we have left. And this is a good lesson for blessed are the flexible, for they shall not be broken. Because we had very minimal breakage. And actually everything that's broken has been us accidentally breaking it, pushing it back up. They didn't fall. I mean, they didn't break from falling.
Look at the little roots on this thing.
Oh, I was going to show you the one over here that immediately got roots. Look. Is it this? This is right here.
Wow.
You can tell it's like fresh.
Yeah. A fascinating vine.
So this is the garden as it is today. So after what you just saw, it actually got blown over again. We had another storm come through. The poles came loose again. Not all of them. So now you can see this is like the most janky garden, but everything is up. It might not look pretty. There are strings everywhere. We cut down some of the posts because we thought maybe they were too high, and so we lowered them. And yeah, I still need to tie up the tomatoes because you can see they're just all over the place. And the cotton, it got crushed, but it's still alive. Look how beautiful it is. This side, yeah, I need to pull the tomatoes up because it is pretty much suffocating my cotton plant. Next year, I want to do an entire row of cotton. But it's making it. So all these peppers, they got crushed. They're coming back though. This sunny day was exactly what the garden needed. You can see this is that disease that I was trying to prevent all summer by just watering the roots. But I mean, when it rains every day and the sun doesn't come up, there's not a lot you can do. You can see the determinate tomatoes have really struggled. And I need to come and pick some more. Yesterday I picked a whole bunch. And yeah, it's not looking good, but they're still growing tomatoes. So there's a lot to be grateful for. You can see we fixed our zinnias. We just used string to tie them up, and the sunflowers as well. Scott tied those up. And a cool story. So when the tree fell, it knocked down 2 other trees and took it with it, and it completely wiped out our mailbox, crushed the mailbox, took out the post, and we had just bought a new mailbox 2 or 3 weeks ago, and we just hadn't gotten around to putting it up. And praise God, we didn't put it up because it would have gotten crushed. We were like, perfect. And Scott used one of the trees that got taken down with the big pine tree for the post. And it is perfect. It's like the perfect cottagecore mailbox, and I love it so much. That's our mimosa tree that got destroyed. This is the pine tree that came down. And this is the other tree that got snapped, and Scott took the mailbox post from that branch. And that's what's left of the pine tree. I let my pasta sauce boil down too much, so it is now tomato paste, which is perfect because I needed tomato paste, so I had to go out and buy these small little these are quarter pint mason jars because I didn't have any this size that were ready, and usually when you need tomato paste, you don't need that much, so I wanted to can them in these smaller jars. A few years ago, I did not know how to do this, and my mom taught me in 2021 was our first big tomato growing season. We grew tomatoes before that, I just never canned them. Then my mom taught me how to water bath can jelly and jams and pasta sauce, and it has been such a blessing. So I think the best way to learn how to can, if you want to, is to learn in person watching someone else do it. YouTube is a huge blessing. You can learn a lot from YouTube. I think for me, it took away the fear of messing up by just doing it with my mom and her showing me how to do it. Then it gave me confidence of doing it, and I can still reference YouTube for recipes, but the confidence came from doing it with my mom. I had saved some of our peach pits from when we got them about probably 2 months ago now, and they've just been in the freezer, and I finally got around to making peach pit jelly, and it is very good. I probably could have made a whole bunch more. I just didn't save all of them. We needed freezer space, so that was not the priority, was the peach pits, but the ones that I did save, I got 5 of these jars of jelly out of. And I want to go back to what I talked about at the beginning of this video with holding the garden with open hands. This is a picture or a concept that I learned from a mentor many years ago. It was in the context of friendships and relationships, but he had taught me to hold people with open hands because you never know when God will move them to a new place. Having this mindset frees you from expectations and disappointments and also offense. And it's been really helpful for me with friendships, but it's also been so helpful for me with our garden. Just having the mindset that this is a blessing, I'm thankful for it while we have it, but I also know that the garden is a place of humility. It is completely out of my control if it's a good year or a bad year. And yes, there are things that we can do to improve our garden, like this year we put in good compost, but even then there are so many variables and things that you just can't control. So one, not beating yourself up about having a bad garden season, but 2, also just being so grateful for whatever you do get. So that's been very helpful for me with life and with the garden. We have several varieties of tomatoes growing this year of all different colors. And I've been picking our tomatoes a little bit early while they still have green on them because we do have such a bad worm problem. So in order to prevent worms eating my red tomatoes, I've been picking them and then letting them fully ripen on our shelf. And then this was last night's basket. There are some that are green and still need to ripen, and then there are some that are split because we've had so much rain, and so those ones I want to separate and use those first. and then let the ones that are still green and in good shape fully ripen. These are the ones that need to ripen, and these are the ones that are split and need to be made into something ASAP. And this is the usnea that has dried out, and I will be making tincture with that soon. I hope you enjoyed today's video.